What's up, YouTube? We are 18 holes away from crowning a United States Open champion and two guys at the top with 0 PGA Tour victories. We'll break it all down. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll jump into it right now. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman. This right here is Greg DuCharme. And Greg, here it is. Saturday night, bud. We're on the eve of finding out who wins the U.S. Open.
And this is a classic Saturday at the U.S. Open, right? We always expect Saturday to be the most difficult day, and this was the day that separated the men from the boys, for lack of a better term. The players who really had their game, the guys that understand what's going on with their game, they have no weakness right now. They're hanging around the top. And then you have the guys that were off just a little bit, and they were punished for 18 holes.
I don't think anyone needs to feel sorry for us, but just to put into perspective what's going on here in Brookline, it is cold. It is windy. The course played very difficult, 3.5 shots over par. It was not. I mean, it was a true test of golf.
The first time we've ever had a winter coat on the First Cut Podcast.
and you forgot
we
yours.
should have two.
Yeah.
We really should have two, at least. It got cold in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And the greens were so firm. I was covering holes 11, 12, and 13. And on 12 and 13, they just, player after player, they just couldn't figure it out. And even good shots took really big bounces to the back of the green. So the players were on the defense all day, even if they were in position in the fairway. If they were in the rough, that created a whole different issue.
Yeah, it was a beast out there. The two guys tied at the top. Will Zalatoris, Matt Fitzpatrick. Let me count them up. 0 PGA Tour wins. Obviously, no major championship. At least Fitzy's got a couple of European Tour wins. He's the favorite. Are you surprised that he's the favorite?
I am a little surprised he's the favorite. I mean, Will Zalatoris has been, well, I guess my expectation would be that they're the same, right? They're very similar in their records on the PGA Tour. Will's younger, but is there more evidence that Matt Fitzpatrick's going to win tomorrow than Will Zalatoris?
No.
I don't think so.
Will was not kidding when he said he was a major championship player, right? Like that was, we kind of made fun of that for a little bit, but he wasn't kidding. He's piling up top 10s.
Yeah, and I mean, look, he's not done tomorrow. He hasn't locked up a top 10, but if he does finish in the top 10 tomorrow, you're looking at, 7 top 10s in majors?
I don't know.
We'll count the
yellow squares.
It's either 6 or 7 yellow squares.
Yeah.
And only 3 events in majors without a yellow square, and one of them he had to withdraw.
Yeah, he hurt himself at an Open Championship. So it was a 3 under 67 for Will Zalatoris, in which he led the field in putting. That I think is the, I don't want to say it's the red flag. I'm not flashing sirens of danger, but we know that's his weakness. If he gains 3 strokes putting on Sunday, he wins this in a landslide. But that unlikely to happen.
Yes, but the good thing about Will Zalatoris is he has a game that's strong enough to back it up. And he also at the PGA Championship was ranked very highly, maybe even leading. I don't remember off the top of my head, but possibly leading heading into the final round of the PGA as well. And he held in there, and he ended up getting into a playoff. He tied for first through 72 holes.
How good is this? Producer Jacob just airdropped me. Technology is amazing. We're coming live from Brookline. And producer Jacob just airdropped me Will Zalatoris' major championship results. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellow squares. Those are top 10 finishes in 7 starts, and and one miscut, 1 WD.
Yes. So very, very impressive. And tomorrow looking to add the first green square.
Ooh.
That's what he's trying to do.
I know, they're tough to get. Ask Matt Fitzpatrick, who's a 2 under 68. And this was, we were watching in the media center, and we were just kind of looking. It's like, oh, Fitzpatrick's 1 under, and he made a bunch of pars. Now he got to 2 under, and he's just made a bunch of pars. It was kind of slow and steady wins the race when you're talking about Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, and he's done that all year, which has been such a nice thing to watch. But the thing that really stands out to me about Matt Fitzpatrick in general is he is about, and this is why this event is perfect for him. He's like 163rd or 82nd, something like that in birdie average, but 4th in scoring average. And it's the biggest spread of anybody by a long shot. And how do you do that? Well, you avoid bogeys. And what do you need to do in a U.S. Open? Avoid bogeys. Yeah. So when the golf courses get really difficult, Matt Fitzpatrick, his game stands out.
Would it help to grow the game if either a guy who has a figure 8 in his putting stroke wins, or a guy who chips cross-handed? That tells you anybody can do it.
Yeah, perhaps. All you have to do is hit it like Matt Fitzpatrick and Will Zalatoris.
Yeah, the rest of
you
their
could win
games,
the U.S. Open too.
The rest of their games are pretty sharp. Jon Rahm is lurking and ran into disaster on 18. We're going to have to talk about that. We'll get into the odds with 18 to go. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Jon Rahm. Again, we were in the media center, and it was like he's on 15, and I'm saying, there's no way he loses this. 16, no way he loses this. 17, no way he loses this. Hits it into the fairway bunker on 18, smacks it into the lip, leaves it in the bunker, dumps it in the front bunker, gets up and down from there. It's a double. Now one shot back, 3 under par for the event of both Zalatoris and Fitzpatrick.
It was an unfortunate circumstance on 18, but
Yeah.
I think there's a world where he's very happy it happened on Saturday and not on Sunday.
Yeah.
If that happened to lose the U.S. Open, it would be disastrous. Even if it ends up costing him the U.S. Open by a shot tomorrow, he'll be extremely disappointed. But he has the chance, and just because he's one back, by no means does it put him out of it. And really, realistically, he should be favored ahead of Zalatoris.
I thought so too.
And Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, we're going to get to the odds in a second, but we were kind of talking about it offline here, and it was like, okay, when we were getting to who's the favorite, I assumed it was going to be Jon Rahm. It's
Right.
not.
Well, and you think about what one shot is in a U.S. Open. Think about how quickly the tide has turned for Jon Rahm, for Scottie Scheffler multiple times.
Colin Morikawa, who shot a 77.
It can happen in the
Yeah.
blink of an eye. So I think Jon Rahm's the strongest player up here, but he's not the favorite.
Scottie Scheffler gave us all the warm and fuzzies in the media center because it looked like he was just going to run away with this thing for a second. He went from 1 under par to 6 under par for the tournament very, very quickly, almost a blink of an eye, then back down to 1 under. He ended up settling in 2 under par. It was a 1 over 71 on Saturday, and there were times I thought today that he looked more uncomfortable than I've kind of seen him for a while, despite all the great shots that he hit.
Well, he made a couple critical mistakes in the 11, 12, and 13. They happened to be my
Those
featured
rear
holes of the
yeah.
day. And on 11, he made the mistake of going long, and he airmailed it, so it almost goes into the penalty area.
Which you told me he was like the only guy kind of on that flat long there.
Yeah, at least of the later groups.
Yeah.
So Brandon Matthews hit it back there earlier in the day. There may have been one other who got it all the way down there, but that's a big mistake on a 141-yard hole to airmail it, kick off the back bank, and almost into the penalty area. He was fortunate it didn't get in there,
Yeah.
and he was fortunate to have a backswing. And then he made another mistake at number 12 and missed the fairway with an iron at 13, and it started to snowball. But I think the fact that he got in at 2 under par is huge. He is still very much in this tournament, and I have to think Ted Scott played a big role in settling him down at that point.
Yeah, so here's the board, Greg, and we were kind of just chatting earlier. Anybody under par is probably still in this, right? So 1 under, that's within 3 shots. You could go back further than that, but you're talking about Nick Hardy, Denny McCarthy, Gary Woodland, Seamus Power. Love those guys. They're probably not going to chase down Jon Rahm and Sam Burns and Scottie Scheffler. So that keeps Rory in the mix. It keeps Sam Burns in the mix, and of course it keeps Adam Hadwin in the mix.
Yes, most important.
Most importantly.
He's been in the mix all week, and we don't expect anything to change.
Obviously.
But he really did. He's held on strong. It's been a difficult week for a player of his style, and he's really impressed me.
Well, that's what I find so interesting is, Colin Morikawa goes out in the final group and he's dropped from featured group coverage by the time he makes the turn, right? And guys of that caliber are going south so quickly, so that when you see Adam Hadwin, who kind of struggled on Friday, fight back, get himself back into position, he's probably not going to win, but he can contend and he can earn a lot of points and have a great finish. That to me is impressive.
Yeah, it is absolutely impressive, and he's battling a different golf course. For Adam Hadwin to hit it in the rough, it's a totally different story than Rory McIlroy hitting it into the rough or Jon Rahm hitting it into the rough. It's just a different story. So really impressive from him. But you're probably right. I don't think he has the firepower.
We are kind of overdue for like a all these.
Think we're spoiled?
I don't think
have we been spoiled lately?
Mean, we could run down the list of major champions. They're all like stars, right? In the last 20 of them.
Is this a chicken or the egg thing? You win majors, you become a star.
That's true. We'd have to go back and look at how we thought about them that
If
week.
Adam Hadwin wins the U.S. Open tomorrow, does he become a star?
No.
No.
But if he then goes on to win like 6 more times, we'd be like, we knew, because after that win, of course, this
the
makes
U.S.
sense.
Open, the Open, the Masters, then
Right.
maybe he'd be a star.
Speaking of stars, Rory McIlroy played shot a 73. That's 3 over, and it was ugly out of the gate. He made bogeys on 2, 3, and 6. He then played his second 9 at even par, which out here in these conditions was excellent. But that was, to me, the most disappointing thing, not only because of how great Rory has played, but how confident he was, how comfortable he was. To really start slow, it just kind of really cut into his chances early.
Yeah, and unfortunately, those early holes are extremely difficult.
Yes.
2 is brutal. 3
Horrible,
is
yeah.
brutal. 4 is brutal. These holes are not easy, and so you have to be really on your game in order to handle them. The thing I find interesting is you told me that he bookended his round with big hooks.
Yes.
But on number 12, after he made a really big birdie, gave us a fist pump at 11, he hit a big hook at number 12 as well. So that's a concern. Rory's hitting it, missing left with the driver. That could be very concerning. But what he's doing on the greens is so impressive. And that if he straightens it out off tee to green, he could shoot a 65 tomorrow. I think he's one of the few that can.
I think he had a stretch of holes where he had 8 1-putts in 9 holes, and I don't know if he still is, but he at one point today was still leading the field in strokes gained putting for the week. That's very anti-Rory way of doing it. I'd actually be disappointed if Rory ends up leading the field in putting for a week at a major championship and doesn't win it.
Well, he's had 2 events in his career where he's led the field in strokes gained putting for the week and won both of them.
There you go.
2016 Arnold Palmer Invitational and the CJ Cup this year where I played him in one and done.
I wasn't expecting you to do that. Just like a drive-by, like, remember this one and done situation.
I'm also in 5th.
Yeah. Yeah, right. We're also, Mark has Will Zalatoris this week. So we are totally just
I think I do too.
Yeah, you do. You and the fans. Yeah.
But
so,
still, Mark's just running away.
yeah, you're playing for second at this point. Here are the odds. As mentioned, Matt Fitzpatrick is the favorite. Will Zalatoris is, so usually this will update. 330, plus 330 for Matt Fitzpatrick, plus 350 for Will Zalatoris, Jon Rahm plus 400. Those are the big 3. I can give you some more odds, but is there a bet to be made there on a Saturday night?
Well, are you comfortable with the Zalatoris number? Or is it too short?
I would not bet. I honestly wouldn't bet either of these 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Would you stick with, if you liked Rory at the beginning of the week, would you stick with Rory?
I would hold with Rory.
I think Rory he's the guy, not only because I said it was over last night, but he has the firepower to go shoot a really low number tomorrow. And I don't think the Adam Hadwins and the Joel Damons and those players have that ability to chase down a leader. I think Rory does.
Rory's 10-1. I believe the only bet that I would make on this Saturday night is, honestly, I think this was the same exact bet that was available on Friday night. Sam Burns at 16-1.
Okay.
He's 3 back. He's playing with Rory, which is going to be an awesome group. But wasn't he 16-1 last night?
Yeah,
as well?
I think he was. So he held ground.
Held
even.
ground.
And that's okay on a day like this.
Yeah, he
What
shot a
about
71
Scottie
and
Scheffler? What do we have for
gained
Scheffler?
strokes. Scheffler is 6-1.
Okay, 6-1.
2 back.
A little tight, but I feel like we haven't given him enough respect.
No, when he got to 600, the media center was foaming at the mouth and like, holy crap, this guy's going to do it again. We have not given him enough respect.
Right, but it got tough, and he came back.
Yeah.
Made huge putts today, too, just like Rory. And I think in a U.S. Open, it's important to be confident with the putter. I don't think you're going to find it if you don't have it on the greens on a Sunday of a U.S. Open. It's the one event where I think your putter really has to be working heading into Sunday. And so I like that aspect of Scottie, and I like that aspect of Rory.
So just to recap here, we've got 9 under par. The big names include Will Zalatoris, Matt Fitzpatrick, Jon Rahm, Scottie Scheffler, Sam Burns, Rory McIlroy. This is shaping up to be special.
Yeah, it is, on a great setup. An unbelievable golf course in freezing cold weather.
And it's going to be colder tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we're dropping another 10 degrees tomorrow.
All right.
Hopefully not as windy, so you're going to need to find a jacket.
I'm going to add another layer. I might just wear 2 sweaters tomorrow.
There you go. All right. We'll be back after the final putt drops here at the Country Club to discuss our new U.S. Open champion. Big thanks, Greg, behind the camera. Producer Jacob doing all the hard work over there behind the lights. That's Greg DuCharme. You can find him on Twitter at TheRealGFD, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.